Hey, welcome to Bill's Garage. This is the second video. This is R&R and an airbag. You should probably go back and watch the first presentation if you haven't watched it already. I'm looking at Ranger, pretty simple old school airbag, but honestly it's about the same as any other airbag that you're going to encounter. So let's have a look at what we got. I got the disabling procedures up. Let me show you. And here it is. It just says record radio preset frequencies for reprogramming if equipped, and disconnect the negative cable and wait 1 minute for the backup power supply to deplete energy storage. So, it's a pretty straightforward system, and it's really pretty simple. I'm going to be taking out probably the passenger side airbag. That's a little more complicated. The driver's side airbag is really very, very simple. So I think I'm going to go with a little more complicated one. Let's get started. Wrong one. Disconnect, leave it sit for 1 minute. Okay, so I've disconnected the battery, waited a minute. Actually, I've waited longer than that. It went that much. But I'm going to pull out the passenger side airbag. It's actually really simple. So here, come on with me and have a look at this. It's airbag is right here. So I access it through the glove box. And I'm just going to drop this down, take out my owner's manual. Have your owner's manual, right? Take this out, push it in the sides, drop this guy down, and then we can actually see in here the two screws that I'm going to take out. There's one over here, and there's one over here. So, right here so you can watch. There's one. And then here's the other one. Hopefully that wasn't too loud. So now that I've got both of these guys out, now I can just push it out from the inside. And this is just kind of how it comes out. It just... Then there is a connector back here, right back here, and all you got to do is just disconnect that guy, and then this airbag is free. So, come on. There it is. Okay. So I want to show you inside of this connector plug. See if I can get this shot so it looks good. It's actually right inside here. Oh, can you see it? Autofocus, baby. It's right inside here. There's a metal shorting tab, and that actually connects to the two gold pins that go up into the airbag itself. So when I plug the airbag in, it pushes that shorting bar out of the way so that it can make an electrical connection with the plug. Two wires, pretty simple, bang, zoom. And then the reverse, to put it back in, it's a pretty simple operation. A couple of screws. I'm not going to bore you with that. Okay, hang tight. Hi. Want to talk a little bit about airbag safety and then a couple other finer points that we need to discuss. When you have to carry an airbag, always have it so that the exploding part is pointed away from you. Accidental discharge, you don't want that thing blowing into your body. It will knock you down. Also, if it needs to be placed on a flat surface, it's placed on a flat surface facing up. Realize these are considered hazardous materials, and if they must be shipped, they need to have the proper labeling and the proper, forms filled out in order to ship it. It's like shipping fireworks, which, that can be a problem. And different states have different regulations on this. It's quite fascinating to look at. Also, the other thing that I wanted to talk about was manufacturers. Upon airbag deployment, what are some of the things that need to be done? And different manufacturers and different platforms, different manufacturers have different things that must be replaced. And, so I'm just kind of picking, one of these guys. So a 2003, 2004 Ford Aviator, if we click on that, after deployment stuff. So after deployment, of course, any airbag module that's deployed needs to be replaced, but what else needs to be replaced? Well, the clock spring that's behind the driver's side steering wheel, that needs to be replaced on driver's side steering wheel deployment, which usually that one goes off. And then all of the crash sensors on this particular vehicle need to be replaced. Not all vehicles require this. And then also the restraint control module, the RCM, needs to be replaced, which a lot of manufacturers, several manufacturers, I'll pick on GM. GM's airbag module on deployment doesn't need to be replaced. But if the car is in, I do believe it's 3 accidents, then it needs to be replaced. So after the car's been crashed 3 times with airbag deployment, then the airbag controller needs to be replaced. But up until then, it doesn't need to be replaced. And then on some platforms, these crash sensors need to be replaced. They're one use only. And then some of them do not need to be replaced. Some just need to be checked. The other thing that comes into play is a lot of these crash sensors are directional, which means they have arrows on them pointing towards the front of the car, or pointing, they'll tell you where they point to. So you have to get the proper, orientation of this crash sensor. And then they also need to be, there's torque specs on these crash sensors, which I would seriously suggest you follow. And be really careful with these crash sensors and don't drop them. Because if you drop them, they could be bad. Now, usually if there's a fault, the airbag light comes on, and many platforms, they'll blink a code at you. Sometimes it requires getting in with a specialized scan tool through the diagnostic port, or on some of the older vehicles, there's a special diagnostic port just for the airbag. And that's about it. Thanks for tuning in.